Is there a better way to make a circle? One that is more rounded? Yes, there is. I played around and I am going to tell you how to do it. Hello and welcome to or back to Miss Craftsalot's Lair. I am Barbie, your resident multi-crafter. On this channel, I share mainly crocheting, knitting, and sewing, although some other crafts could get thrown in here and there as I am inspired. If that's something that you are interested in, please consider subscribing. I am on a quest to reach 500 subscribers by the first week of March so I can have 500 subscribers before my birthday. So if you could help that, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, let's get to the circles. So if you are a crocheter, at some point in time, you are going to need to make this shape, especially if you are making amigurumi. Hats start off with this particular shape quite often. Um, Coasters are another popular way to use this particular shape. This is supposed to be a circle, and this is how most of your amigurumi patterns tell you to do the circle. So you're starting off with 6 stitches and you are increasing each round by 6 stitches. In that first round, you're doing 6 stitches. The next round, you're doing 12 stitches. So you're putting 2 stitches in each one, in each stitch. Now, when you get to row 3, that's when things start changing up a bit because you're going to be adding an increased stitch as well as a single crochet stitch in each segment. So you're going to, every other stitch, then you are putting an increase. Every other stitch you're doing a single crochet. That makes sense, I think. Not a tutorial. This is just me, like, yeah, sharing with you what I have found. So normally I don't end like that, but this time I did. Anyway, so in doing this, you are having, in each round, you are doing a segment that has the same amount of stitches that your round is. So each segment on round 7 is going to have 7 stitches, an increased stitch, and then 5 single crochets with it. Now, that gets you this kind of shape. And it's more, to me, a hexagon than a circle. And also, when you're looking at it, you can see, especially here on this particular one, oh, I've got to do it in mirror reverse. So when I'm going this way, there we go. So you can see how those increased stitches kind of bow out this way. No, this way. Yeah, I was right the first time. They kind of bow out and kind of make a pinwheel shape. And that is, to me, okay. I made this domed piece to show you kind of the top part of an amigurumi or a hat when you're doing that same thing. And you can also see that it's coming out and kind of doing this whole pinwheel effect on the piece. You could fix the problem by swapping out and putting that increase on a different side. So your rows 1 through 3 would be the same as you would with this one. However, with this one, you're working the 3 rounds, and then on round 4, you are actually doing your single crochets for that segment before you do the increase. And then for the odd rows, you're doing the increase and then you're doing the subsequent needed single crochets for that particular segment. And so that gets you something that looks kind of like this. And it does seem a little bit more rounded. The only problem though is it still has those corners to it. And I did not want such harsh corners on my circle. Circles don't have corners. So with this one as well, I will say that it kind of does it does a better job at kind of hiding that row of increases, and it definitely looks a little bit straighter where you see the increases here. Nope, over here. And so that's not too bad. So as you can see, that does make a bit of a cleaner circle. However, still not exactly what I was looking for. And so with some playing, now I am not going to sit here and say that and be as naive as to say that I am the only person who has discovered this. I did not look through YouTube's channel, YouTube's search or whatever to find this. This is all me like just playing around. So therefore, uh, don't end up in my comments telling me that everybody else has figured it out and this isn't not a new thing. I'm pretty sure it's not. However, I found this and I figured I would share this with you guys. So, with that being said, here is my better circle. And I'm sure that there is still some room to improve on actually getting it even more circular. However, check that out. This is actually adding in a couple of extra corners to kind of soften things up. Rows 1 through 3 on this one are exactly the same as rows 1 through 3 on this one, or rounds 1 through 3 on this one, these two. So you're going to work your regular 6 stitches, 6 single crochets in the magic ring, and then you are going, or your chain if that's what you choose to do. Chain 2 I think is what it is. I personally like the magic ring. So but you start off with the magic ring or your chain 2, and then you work 6 single crochets. The second round you're going to work 12 single crochets, which is basically is 6 increased 6 single crochet increases. That's what I'm trying to spit out of my mouth. And then for the third round, you are single crochet increasing and then a single crochet, and you repeat that around. Row 4 is where it gets a little bit different. So from row 4, each even row that you do, you're actually putting that increase in the middle stitch of the round before. So to make things a little bit easier and to word that just a different way, for round 4, I did a single crochet and then it was to that middle stitch of the row 3. So I did single crochet and then I did my single crochet increase and then another single crochet for the segment. Now, when I'm counting those up, I actually just count those first stitches and then continue the segments like normal. So how I count is I would do 1 single crochet and then I would do single crochet increases 1, 2, and then the next 2 would be 3, 4, and then I would continue on that way and then counting, so in that way I know that I'm getting the right amount of each segment. And then you just end up with those last little stitches at the end of the round. So then the odd rows turn into being the same as you would with these two, you increase at the very beginning and then you work the subsequent or the next stitches in order to make the amount of stitches for that particular segment. So round 6, you're back to 2 single crochets, and then you're going to do the increase, and then 4 single crochets. And so you're making something that looks like this. I know my autofocus is not wanting to work for me today, but the way that this looks, you can't really see an actual like seam like you can in this one. See that difference? So it gets your dome looking like this, so you don't have, see the difference there? You don't have that pinwheel effect like you do on this one. So that is how I make my better circle now that I have figured that one out. That's probably the way that all of my subsequent amigurumis are going to be written, is that, to keep that pinwheel effect from happening, because it's distracting to me. And it also, like I said, it comes out with more like a hexagon than it does a circle. So yeah, that is my video for today. If you like this, please like, share, and subscribe. Like I said, I am trying to get to 500 subscribers by the beginning of March, because I think that would be a wonderful birthday present for me. Um, and until next time, bye. I had this all typed up. I spent an hour last night working on my script for this video. Now, when I went in to go and look at it, I'm using a different program, new program. And when I went in to go look at it, it was gone, which makes me sad because I thought that I really like did a good job on the script. And it's gone. I tried scripting, y'all. I tried.